Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is taken from day 4 of the trial. This is Johnny Depp's personal security guard. And what this is detailing the immediate day after Johnny Depp's mother had died, and essentially the interaction that he had with Amber Heard, and just the grotesqueness that Amber Heard, sort of indicated and treated Johnny Depp during that time, the utter contempt that she had for Johnny Depp. So I would say, enjoy, but obviously don't enjoy this. It's not very nice to hear, but I hope you appreciate the content nonetheless. If you do, give it a thumbs up and please do share it. Stay tuned for more as I bring you highlights as well as breakdown videos showing the most relevant parts to the case as we go through this.
In this time frame of April 2016, do you recall Mr. Depp's mother having any health problems?
Yes.
What do you recall about her health problems?
At that time, she was very critical. She had been suffering from cancer for some time, a few years, I believe. And at that stage, she was slowly deteriorating. So it was approximately a month before she passed.
Do you recall when she passed away?
I believe it was around May 20th, 19th.
And how did you learn that she had passed away?
Mr. Depp told me.
And again, based on your observations, how would you describe Mr. Depp's demeanor when he informed you that his mother had passed away?
Well, he just lost his mother, so he was, you could tell he was, very sad, and he was mourning. And so I just left him alone until he needed me for whatever I had to do for him that day.
And to your knowledge, Mr. Bett, when was the next time Mr. Depp saw Miss Heard?
Maybe a month later, sometime in May.
And I'm sorry, was that a month after the birthday dinner on April 21st, 2016?
Objection, leading.
I'll sustain as to leading.
To your knowledge, after April 21st, 2016, when did Mr. Depp next see Miss Heard?
In my presence, he would have seen her May 21st.
And was that after Mr. Depp's mother passed away?
Correct. That would have been a day after she passed.
So you were working on May 21st, is that right?
I was.
Okay. Did you end up taking Mr. Depp to the penthouses at Eastern Columbia Building?
I did, and Mr. Judge was along with me as well.
And do you remember approximately what time you arrived at the penthouses?
It would have been sometime after 7:30, maybe 7:45, 7:15, around that time frame.
And was that in the evening?
It was.
Did you enter the penthouses with Mr. Depp?
I did, myself and Jerry Judge and Mr. Depp.
And what did you see when you first entered the penthouse?
When we first walked in, on the center island in the kitchen, there were candles lit on the table. There was a couple wine glasses that were empty, and there was a bottle of wine that was open. There was also music playing in the background through the speakers that were in the wall.
Did you see Miss Heard when you first entered the penthouse?
I did.
Did you stay inside the penthouse with Mr. Judge and Mr. Depp?
No, shortly thereafter, Mr. Judge and I exited the penthouse and stood outside the door briefly.
How long would you estimate that you stood outside the door of the penthouse?
It would have been approximately maybe 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less.
And after standing outside the penthouse for 10 minutes, give or take, where did you go next?
We walked down the hallway to penthouse number 5. Penthouse number 5 has 2 doors. There's a main entrance that takes you into the living room. Next to it, around the corner, it's a continuation of the penthouse, which is like a storage area. It also has, it had a couch at the time and a TV for the security personnel. So once we were at the penthouses, we could go in there, have lunch or dinner, or watch a little bit of TV. And then, you know, whenever Mr. Depp or Ms. Heard would leave and I'd have to drive, or the other security personnel, we would get a text, or they would come knock on the door, and we would leave.
And when you first arrived to the penthouses with Mr. Depp, based on your observations, was he drinking?
He had some glasses of wine at the meeting he was at with his accountant.
Apologies, Mr. Bett. I meant on May 21st, 2016. Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Did you observe Mr. Depp drinking any alcohol that day?
He might have had a glass of wine in the car, but as far as the entire day, I wouldn't have known how much he drank.
Did he appear intoxicated to you when he arrived to the Eastern Columbia building?
No.
So you went to the storage area of the penthouse area. How long were you there?
We might have been there maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes. We got something to drink, and then we exited that penthouse I described, or that penthouse storage area.
And where did you go next?
We walked down the hall towards Mr. Depp's penthouse, which would have been penthouse number 3.
And did you stand outside the door, or did you go in?
As we approached the door, we could hear the screaming and shouting from Miss Heard. So I immediately opened up the door, and Mr. Judge and I ran in there.
What do you remember Miss Heard screaming or shouting?
It appeared she was shouting profanities. So once Mr. Judge and I went through the front door, Mr. Depp would have been standing directly in front of us, maybe about 20 feet, because parallel to us walking in or running in, there was a wall. It was the way the kitchen was set up, it was almost like an L shape. So you walk in, and then you'd have to make a left. So Mr. Depp would have been standing in front of us, and he glanced at us. As soon as Mr. Judge and I rounded the corner, I saw Ms. Heard standing next to her good friend, Raquel Pennington.
And how was Ms. Heard standing? Where were her hands?
Her hands would have been in this motion. Once Mr. Judge and I rounded that corner and she saw both Jerry and I, she had this look of surprise on her face, and then she looked at Mr. Depp and us, and she shouted out loud, "This is the last time you do this to me." At which point Mr. Depp looked at her and said, "What the hell are you talking about?" At that point, Mr. Judge tapped Mr. Depp on the arm and told him, "Boss, let's leave." So we gathered, there was a couple of computer bags that was right on a table, and we exited the front door to penthouse number 3.
Based on your observations, did you have a clear view of Ms. Heard?
I did.
Did you have a clear view of her face?
I did.
Did you observe any injuries on Ms. Heard's face?
I didn't.
Did you see any redness?
I didn't.
Swelling?
None.
Was Ms. Heard holding her face?
She wasn't.
So what happened next?
We exited penthouse number 3 and we walked down the hallway. Right when we were getting close to penthouse number 5 door, Mr. Depp says, "I need to get in here and look for something." So I opened up the door for him. We went inside, and that's when I saw Miss Heard's friend, Raquel Pennington's boyfriend, Josh Drew, and another unknown female that I'd never seen before. And there was a small dog kind of walking around. Mr. Depp, I believe he said, "Get the fuck out of my apartment." So Mr. Drew nodded his head and basically said, okay. The female picked up the dog, and they exited the front door to that penthouse.
What did Mr. Depp do next?
He was walking around the kitchen area, living room area. He might have gone upstairs briefly. I can't remember. I don't know what he was looking for. I didn't ask him. Mr. Judge didn't ask him. Eventually, he didn't find whatever he was looking for, and we exited penthouse number 3.
And while Mr. Depp was in penthouse number 3, did you observe him cause any damage?
No.
Did you observe him cause any damage to any of the penthouses on May 21st, 2016?
No.
Did you see Mr. Depp become violent with anyone while at the penthouses on May 21st, 2016?
Objection, leading.
I'll allow it. That's fine.
I didn't.
Mr. Bett, have you ever seen Mr. Depp become violent with Ms. Heard?
I haven't.